I am passionate. I'm passionate about motorcycling and motorcycles. I've never done anything in my life that's given me the pleasure and excitement and the exhilaration that motorcycles have, and continue to do. With the bike, you're always in balance somehow when it's happening properly. For me, it's about being in control, and the key word is control, of something powerful, fast, potentially dangerous, but you've got to get it right. And when you do get it right, there is no feeling like it.
Biking is the fun, the exhilaration, the passion, the adrenaline rush when you get it all right. It's fantastic, you can't beat it. Being in control of the bike, not it being in control of you.
Let's take a look at a left-hand bend. Position the bike early. The ideal position is just to the near side of the centre line. Brake early if you need to do so. Get the braking out of the way before you put the bike over onto its side at all. Once you've got the speed right, add a little bit of power into the bend, and as the bend starts to open up in front of you, feed in a little bit more power as the bike becomes more upright. Next we'll look at right-hand bends. Again, position early. Towards the near side, but not right in the gutter. By getting into the near side, we get an early view round the bend. Assess the bend, use all the information again. If you need to, brake at this point nice and early. When we've got the right speed, let's get the flexible gear again, and then accelerate round the bend as it opens up. As motorcyclists, we are one of the most vulnerable people on the roads, so we have to keep looking out for the other road users. Not just the car drivers, the pedestrians, the tractor drivers, everybody. We've got to spot the potential hazards. We have to read the road. Get all the information that's available to us, formulate a plan in our heads. Look at the signs, look at the road layout, look where the road goes, look over the hedges. Look at the vehicles in front, what speed have they gone round the bend? Vehicles coming towards us, how have they negotiated the bend? All things that are there to help us. Slow on the road, arrows pointing me into the near side, warning triangle on the left for a farm. Looking down in the bottom, we can see the road is going to go between the farm buildings. Look over the top at 11 o'clock with me, you can see where the road's going. Double white line system in force. Need to take a little bit of care here. There we are, once we're in the bottom, we can feed a little bit of power in, there's no problems there now, and away we go. Practice makes perfect. A good corner is smooth, balanced, poised, well timed, and of controlled power.
When you get it right, nothing can beat it. But unfortunately, as a police officer, I too often have to deal with the consequences of people getting it wrong.
Josh was travelling around a left-hand bend on an A road, nice winding country road. Travelling towards him was a Volkswagen Polo. That vehicle was travelling on its own side of the road and travelling well within the 60-mile-an-hour speed limit.
I answered the phone, it was a sergeant from work asking me, in my capacity as a family liaison officer, if I would turn out to the scene of a fatal road traffic accident.
For some reason Josh has run wide on this left-hand bend. He's not got round the bend on his own side of the road. He's been at least a metre over the white line at impact, and it would appear that he was trying to regain his own side of the road when he struck the oncoming car.
When I got to the scene, everything was still in position, and it actually looked as if a bomb had been detonated.
The bike has stopped very violently when it's hit the car, and Josh has gone over the handlebars, hitting the offside A-pillar of the oncoming Volkswagen. He's then flown through the air, over the near side hedge, landing in a field, and he's flown in the air to the first landing point that we could find, a distance of 25 metres. That's the equivalent length of 2 buses. He's then bounced and rolled a further 12 metres through the field, again the length of another bus. So from the point of impact, he's travelled the length of 3 buses end to end before he's come to rest.
I took the body to the mortuary. As part of my role there, I have to strip the body and make sure there are no other signs of injuries from anything other than the accident. It wasn't difficult getting the person out of the clothes because the lower limbs were pretty well shattered all over.
However good his equipment was, however good his leathers were, however good his helmet was, it's very unlikely anybody could survive that impact.
I was walking up to a knock on the door about 1:10 in the morning, and I knew straight away it was something to do with Josh. I knew it wasn't good. So I came straight downstairs, opened the door to a tall man in a suit. He showed me Josh's driving licence, and I said, "He's dead, isn't he?" And he just nodded his head and said yes. And from that moment, everything went numb.
For me, it's the worst thing I can ever have to tell somebody. To go and knock on somebody's door and say that your child's not coming home. As a father and a parent, I can't imagine really what it must be like.
And I had to go to Blackburn Royal and identify him, which was something that I wouldn't like any mother to ever go through. It's something you never ever want to happen. You do these things, you don't want to, but you do them and everything just follows on. And when I seen him, he looked so big, so old, and he didn't look like my baby. And that's the night my nightmare began, really. From then on, everything was just pointless.
In a lot of ways, racing, especially when you get to a fairly high level, is about calculated risks. What that's given me is, A, an appreciation of what a bike feels like right when it gets to the limit, because I've had a chance to do that in an environment that isn't as dangerous. So you slide off your bike, and I've done it, believe me, a lot of times. I've had just about every crash possible on track. Everybody's going the same way around, there's lots of run-offs and there's people that come and pick you up. But on the road, I'm not prepared to do that. Even as careful as you can be, things happen that still shock you, still come out under the radar. In a car, you're kind of safe that you know that your airbags will go off and you've got a bent car, but you're probably going to walk away from it. On a bike, you very, very quickly learn that A, you're probably not going to walk away from it, and B, it don't matter whose fault it is. Don't matter whose fault it is, you're the one that's going to come off worst.
So this is Josh's Kawasaki, and my understanding is it's the first big bike he bought after passing his test. Clearly it's had catastrophic damage, huge impact to the front end. The main strength of this motorcycle is in the frame area. This one, as a result of the impact, has torn in this place here, very badly distorted, there's actually a fold in it at the back. And of all the motorcycle accidents I've dealt with, I've never seen one that's distorted in that way. Clearly there's a lot of damage to the front, and the forks and the front wheel was snapped off as well. What you're looking at here is the result of an impact with closing speed of both vehicles, 80 to 90 miles an hour.
The problem for Joshua is that he's quite young, inexperienced. It's probably fair to say we've all been there. I'm as guilty as others. In a long time ago, I've ended up on the wrong side of the road, having gone into a bend too fast. And it's a very scary experience. Fortunately for me, there was nobody coming the other way. Unfortunately for Joshua, there was.
Number one is respect. You're doing something you really enjoy, even if you've never done it, I would tell you it's the most exhilarating thing you can ever do. But also having respect for the fact that it's quite a dangerous thing if approached wrong, and if you don't ride with the respect for what you're doing and what can go wrong.
I ended up being involved with the ride out. Hundreds of bikers turned up and all rode in respect past the family. I was at the front of the procession, which meant quite a lot to me. To be involved in it was good, but to be actually at the front as we went past Kirsty was something else as well. And they just had a day of raising funds and raised a lot of money for the air ambulance.
I had a dream. It was a dream that was very, very real. I knew he shouldn't have been there, and he was. And it just come back to tell me how sorry he was, and it was an accident and it was a total misjudgment on his part.
Nobody's invincible, whether you're on the track or whether you're on the road, but on the road the difference is you absolutely have to get it right. Your first mistake can be definitely the last one you ever make. You've just got to get it right, and to do that it takes a lot of concentration, a lot of learning, and I keep going back to it, but a lot of respect for what you're doing.
He's left me childless. I'll never see him get married. I'll never have grandchildren. I died with him that day. Don't, whatever you do, let your parents or family go through what I've had to go through. The knock on the door, is the worst thing that anybody can wake up to, because you know at that time in the morning what that knock is. And every morning when I wake up and I feel physically sick. And even nearly a year on, that is still there, and that does not disappear until dinner time. It's just knowing what my day is bringing, which is a day without my son.